Now, when the networks all use the same configuration, the way we do this is really simple. Meraki has invented what they call templates. You can use templates to say, okay, here's my definition of a standardized configuration. I want to bind those templates to all of my networks, and whatever network is bound to that template, they will use that template behavior. Problem solved. That works when you have a lot of networks that have to be the same thing. However, the problem with the templates is that whenever you need to make certain customizations to a network, let's say you have a few that need a slightly different configuration, you can't do that with templates. So it's quite restrictive. And that's one of the problems we've been hearing for a lot of people. If they want to have every network use the same configuration, it's good. If they're using many networks with different configurations, templates don't work. And the problem is, again, if you're in the second case where there is a lot of a multi-configuration type of organization and you can't use templates, that means you have to manually go in and change each network one at a time to make sure that it's the way you want it to be. What you see at this point is that when you're making manual changes over a lot of networks over a long period of time, you start to experience what we call configuration drift. So that means that, for example, you can start off with everything in a very good condition, a good state, but over time, small errors, small mistakes accumulate, and over the period of just a few months, you might end up with a state of your whole infrastructure which is not very visible, not very understandable, and not exactly what you want. So that means that manually managing large numbers of networks is not really the best idea. What we've come up with is we've come up with the idea of Flextemplates. So it's quite similar to the Meraki idea of templates, but it gives you that flexibility to make customized changes to a network. The way those work is the following. So we were again inspired by Meraki, so we can create a new template, a new Flex template from an existing Meraki template or from an existing Meraki network. So for example, I'm going to create one from my network, from a template in Meraki called Boundless Wireless. Once I create it, it's going to start importing all of the parameters from that Meraki template into the Boundless Flex template, and we'll see those here.
So is it getting that information right now from the dashboard?
Yes, it is, through the API.
Okay. Okay.
And I didn't record this earlier, so it's taking a few seconds. Now we just loaded up this Flex template, the Boundless template, into our Flex template here on, we loaded the template from the Meraki dashboard to the Boundless Flex template. And what you see is it's created a new Flex template with all of these template parameters that I use in Meraki. So I've got some syslog servers set up here. I've got some SSID set up here. Those are now in my Boundless template. What I can do is say, okay, now if I want to go make changes to this Flex template, I can do that. And I can also deploy those to a lot of other networks that are not using templates. So for example, I could deploy it to this network, deploy it to that network, etc. And once I click deploy, it's deploy all those changes to those networks that are not using templates. And through the API, they'll have the same configuration uniformly. The advantage here is that I can make all of my configurations across multiple networks uniform, but if I need to go back afterwards and make customizations to each network, I can still do that. So I get that usage, that ease of management over large scale, but that removes that constriction and the restraints of not being able to make customizations.
Wow, is
that part clear?
Yes.
Now, the reason we built this is because this has been a huge problem we've heard throughout the whole Meraki ecosystem. People love the simplicity. Templates solve a pretty great problem, but when they come up with a lot of constraints about doing manual changes, there's no good solution. And thanks to the API, we can now give a good solution without any knowledge of programming, without any knowledge of using the API, to say, here I am, I have a problem I need to solve, and how can I do it? Now for you, that's really, really good, because you could take this tomorrow and say, let's assume they have a name they want to standardize across a bunch of networks or devices. I'm not exactly sure what the use case is, but let's say they wanted to use templates before that, but they couldn't because they're too restrictive. You could take your Flex template, write a name for your network, and apply that to all the networks in question. And you wouldn't really need any technical knowledge to do that. You click deploy, you apply it to the networks, problem solved. That configuration is applied. So you can have that ease, again, you can have that ease of usage of scale without having to host anything, without having to think about JSON or programming. Just click, drag and drop, just like Meraki, but it works at scale now. That's the